many things. But dude, I really appreciate you coming on and talking for a bit.
Yeah,
Please
man.
let everyone know where they can find you.
You can find me at Freedom Act Radio on X. Propagandafight.com is my website, and Propaganda Report on any podcasting app that you listen on. Thanks for having me, man. And
Yeah.
I just really noticed your robot there in the middle.
What robot?
Oh yeah, people can't see that. That's just for you. That's just for you.
I don't see no robot.
Don't mention the robot, Brad. He's our handler. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, man. See you later.
All right, later.
Ooh wee, oh wee, oh wee. So that is Brad Binkley. Look him up. He is awesome. Very funny guy. We had a really great time at Bohemian Grove. It was great. Great time. But yeah, this whole story, the more you look into it, it drives you crazy just because there's so many avenues to go. If we have callers, we should probably take some callers in here. I would love to hear from you guys. If you got thoughts on this, if you got thoughts on hostile alien spaceships hurtling towards Earth, we want to hear about that. I love how that news broke. The same time Trump says he might pardon Ghislaine on, was that Friday? Hilarious. Or he said, no, I'm sorry. He didn't say he was going to pardon her. They granted her like partial immunity. And then an hour later, we heard that there's an alien spaceship coming to Earth. It'll never get here. I'll tell you that much. It'll get here when we get closer to getting Epstein files.
Yeah, it was limited proffer immunity
Right.
during the discussions, which basically means her statements can't be used against her in court. The arrangement allows her to provide information without the risk of self-incrimination, because why would we want that, right?
Interesting. Yeah, the whole Dershowitz immunity thing that they worked out. I don't know if Dershowitz actually was with her. She's got an interesting deal that I don't know too much about. That's more of like a legal thing that I'm still trying to understand of how it worked with her getting some immunity from being prosecuted again in other districts. I need to look into that more.
And I mean, I get it. You know,
Yeah.
you're more inclined to provide information if you're not going to go to jail for what
sure.
you're saying. You know, it makes sense to me, but at the same time, I don't think that they should be too lenient here for having her cooperate. I think she should cooperate, regardless of whether it does anything for her or not.
It should have happened sooner.
We kind of need her to.
Yep, there's a lot of people we need to hear from. You know, like what Brad's saying with Martin Seligman. That's fascinating. Like I said last week with Lex Wessner, why hasn't anyone talked to that guy about it? The whole Kidman connection there that he made was crazy. And then the Dershowitz thing, you know, what I meant to say earlier about Dershowitz, why I find him scummy, I'm not just saying that, is in 1997 he wrote an article about why we should lower the age of consent. That was weird. I think he said to 14. And in 1998, a year later, he wrote his defense of Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. And I think I said this on a show a week or two ago. He backpedaled on that years and years later when he started defending Trump against Me Too accusations. But I just find something slimy about that. That's just me, though, maybe. What do you guys think? But, yeah, please call in. Phone lines are live now. Yeah?
Yeah, links are pinned in the chats. We got a couple people in here we're going to get to in just a second. But really quick, I want to throw this out here and get this out.
Oh, yeah.
This is from our boy Project Mayhem.
Shout out Project Mayhem.
He's
Thank
always
you.
on the lookout.
Yeah.
And I'm going to throw this up. I don't know. I haven't gotten complete confirmation yet. I've only seen this. This is the first source I've seen with this information. But and Shane just found this out, and I'm keeping everyone in suspense.
Take it away.
Shane
You should
just
take it
found
away,
this
yeah.
out when he got into the studio. He didn't see it, and he said, "What the hell?" So I'm going to bring it up. The Annabelle doll has gone missing from the room of paranormal investigator Dan Rivera, who was found dead shortly after starting a U.S. tour with it.
No.
They fucking stole it.
Oh, no.
And it is on the loose. It is at large, according to this article. And I'm going to be digging deeper into this this week to try to see if there's any other information on it. If anybody finds anything, hit me up on X, at Brando Inverted, tag me. We will figure this out together. But I'm looking at Shane right now, and Shane is pale.
She's looking for a plea deal. She wants partial immunity because she's guilty.
He looks redder on camera than he actually is. I promise you. But he is pale right now.
Yeah, I'm so red in this room. But yeah, we should watch out for that doll. You might remember earlier, what was it, a month ago, when we talked about people being worried that her tour was causing mayhem across this country because there were fires, there were prison breaks, there were murders. And, you know, those things do happen. But do they always happen when Annabelle the doll's around? I don't know.
I don't
Then
know that I
that guy
want to
dropped
mess with
dead.
it. I mean, personally, if somebody asked me to, I would take this doll and punt it across a parking lot. I'm not scared of it, but
No,
at the
you shouldn't
same
be.
time, you guys know how I am about like messing with energy that messes back. Just don't even get involved, you know?
Yeah.
Like do yourself a favor, but I do think we need to put this bitch back in the box.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
I think it needs to happen sooner than later. So we're going to keep our eyes on this. And,
If we had a higher budget, we'd have a knock on the door right now, and we would very reluctantly open it, and she would walk in here and sit on the couch, and we would interrogate Annabelle for all her crimes against humanity.
well, maybe we can get her in the studio. I don't know. Maybe if we do that, we can
I'll reach
sit
out
her
to our
over
booker.
there in the guest seat.
Yeah, I'll reach out to her booker, see if you have Annabelle's contacts
We have to try to find her first.
on the lam.
But all right, let's get a caller on the line here and get this rolling. Let's go to our homie Corey from Break the Chains Media.
Sick.
Corey, what's up? Welcome back.
Hello. Can you hear me all right?
We can. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. What a great speaker guest you had before. What was his X account again? I was trying to get it. I couldn't quite hear what he said. Did you guys have
will
that?
Tell you in just 1 second. I'll pull that up. Yeah, Brad is the man. His Twitter handle is freedom. Let me just get this right. It's freedom ACTRADIO.
Freedom
Freedom
Act
Act Radio.
Radio.
I
Oh,
was like, what
Freedom
is that?
Act Radio.
That's what
Cool,
it
because
is.
he kind of said it kind of quick. I was like, I got to follow that guy.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Brad rules.
Yeah, excellent stuff. And like the whole conversation regarding like what's happening with like the Ghislaine Maxwell 100 names, like this whole thing. And I've called in before, but I literally just had an hour-long conversation with my astrology dude, and like I'm trying to convince him to be a part of my podcast because we do such a good conversation, because I have all of the intel about news and all the media gathering and all the chaos that happens in the world, but he can read it and interpret it into astrology charts. But I called in earlier about talking about an August 9th date. He was talking about an August 9th kind of big moment of unveiling.
Yeah.
But come to find out that the Ghislaine Maxwell hearing is going to be on August 11th. So like that is right in par with what he was kind of shooting. It's, you always got to do plus or minus a day or two with this astrology reading stuff. But I mean, and he what he did was he read Ghislaine Maxwell's star chart down to the date. You got to have the specific like birth chart sign, but Ghislaine Maxwell, she has a lot of Mercury in her star chart, which is the messenger, which is the you think of the postman, like delivery and news and information. So with Mercury being a prominent sign in her chart, and currently we're in a Mercury retrograde, but Mercury goes direct. Mercury comes out of retrograde right in that same time that she's having those quote unquote hearings. And then we're going to have her disclose this information, whatever information it is. I think it's all going to be bunk BS anyways. She's going to say whatever wants to be heard by the DOJ, but I'm not going to take 2 seconds of that. But I just think it's all interesting how this unveiling and all the star charts and this, it all aligns in a very unique way with Ghislaine Maxwell. And then the whole Alan Dershowitz thing. I mean, like, we have the web we weave. They could not write a script that is as involved as this that we're witnessing right now in this world.
100%. And maybe the August 9th date doesn't have to mean it's her hearing. Perhaps something happens before to stop it.
Yes, or possibly exactly like or something comes in. New information comes to light regarding this moment. But I mean, for all things, if you want to kind of like distill it all down, the fact that Alan Dershowitz is being so upfront about all of this. Well, you know, there might be good people that are compromised with this information. It could be a bad, you know, you don't know who's good and bad in these files. Like, you know, he's trying to cover some people, including himself. And then, you know, Leslie Wexner just like handing all this information, you know, giving Epstein all of this information or like being the financier of all this.
He was
I mean,
the
like,
power of attorney for Lex Wessner. Like,
Yeah.
the guy from Bed Bath & Beyond and Victoria's Secret, I believe it was for 16 years. Why?
Yeah,
And he
and
gave
then
him like
you
a
have,
$270 million house.
You have what's his name? You have the Department of Commerce, Howard Lutnick,
Yes.
sitting right behind Trump,
Yeah.
and he's next door neighbors of Epstein up until the day he died in the New York penthouse.
Yep.
So I mean, like, it's not a coincidence. Robert Maxwell's death in the Spanish Isles or off the coast of Spain,
Yep.
in the 90s. Like, there's way more, and I don't think we're ever going to really know. And I think what it really comes down to is that there are honest people in this world who want the truth.
Mm-hmm.
We're never going to see the truth. But I think being persistent and being passionate about what we know to be good in this world, we do not want evil people to be running this world. Therefore, whoever is tied to this nefarious multi-generational decade bloodletting, whatever have you, that's kind of beside the point. We don't need to convince people that it is the evil. It's the fact that, like, it is happening and these people are covering up for each other. Therefore, the brothers and sisters next to us in our community and in our networks, we have more in common to unite together to say, yeah, we probably don't want these people in charge of the upper echelons of corporations, public service, military apparatus, government, border control, all these things. That's what we're trying to shine the light of. And if it means a fundamental change of our global system, like, so be it. But we have to be prepared for the ramifications that we're asking for, you know?
Is it so much to ask that we are not governed by satanic pedophiles that hurt children? I mean,
Right.
I don't know why this is so controversial.
Why is it so difficult?
Because I think the network is so widespread. It's not just this country, and it's not just this decade. This is centuries old, thousands of years going on. You know, we know evil is just rampant, and this is just our version that we have to deal with, but it's deeply embedded. You know, I brought up the Rothschilds, and that's become kind of like a meme, but I mean, it's no joke. That is centuries of a very powerful family with a lot of money. You know, just one example for those who don't know, I'm sure many of you guys do, but like, this family had so much money during the Napoleonic Wars, they funded both sides of the war. And then they decided, we want Britain to win, so let's pull back the funds on Napoleon. And, you know, I forget which Rothschild it was at the time, but like, they knew about Waterloo and Napoleon losing, I think, before the press. I believe that's what it was. They knew before someone, I believe it was before the press. This is deep, ancient money. And it's not just them. You know, we can talk about the DuPont family.
Yep.
They're insanely powerful. Also possibly incestuous, definitely evil. You know, we've had guests on this show, Destiny Rendez, I always get her last name wrong, Resendez, talking about the DuPont heir, one of them, raping his own little child, you know, and then he didn't have to go to jail. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff with the DuPont stuff, and like, we can get into the chemicals and the polluting and how they made the gunpowder for every American war. And these are huge, powerful families. The DuPonts were also, I believe, part of the business plan we've talked about with trying to overthrow FDR with Smedley Butler. You know, these corporations coming together to overthrow our government. You know, not like I remember, but I don't like FDR as a concept. But I don't want to overthrow a government. I don't want a coup ran by corporate, you know, magnates. And installing someone to turn the country into whatever their vision is, which is war. Well, Smedley's put it best: war is a racket. It's not really for freedom. It's to keep the corporations going. Something the Rothschilds know a lot about, making money off war. Something the DuPonts know a lot about. Something the Rockefellers knew a lot about. Rockefellers were funded by the Rothschilds. So there's this like ancient strain of very rich evil that has just embedded itself into the DNA of, unfortunately, Earth. And now we're dealing with it.
And I think that's like the crux of what I think this generation and what we are here as humans on this plane to kind of break free of. You know, my channel is called Break the Chains, like Break the Chains Media. You have to be the ones to be the first and last line of the truth of what we see in this world, how to speak the truth to power, how to be awakened to see that this is a multi-generational bloodline, evil power control system that has been going for hundreds, if not thousands of years. If you like I guarantee you there were people in power that do the exact same thing that they're doing now that they were doing during pre-dynastic flood Egypt. Like we're talking like thousands of years ago human culture. Like
Moloch,
that is, I guess,
Baal.
an inherent flaw of humanity,
Yeah.
is that there will always rise to atop some ego megalomaniac people who want to enslave humanity, and we need to try to find that balance as free people of the world.
Well put, man. Totally agree. I
Yep.
think that's great. Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Appreciate all you do. Keep crushing it. Lastly, you guys, I think the powers that be are getting kind of lazy when this active shooter decides to off himself on floor number 33. I don't know if you guys saw that, but
Just
that's kind of
before.
they're getting a little lazy with that.
Just
but
before I walked in here,
Yep.
Kellen told us that. I'm
Yeah.
like, you got to be kidding me.
God, that's gonna give us all the trolls meat for another 2 days. But y'all can find me on X, Break the Chains Break the Chains Media on Rumble. Appreciate all you guys do.
Thanks, man.
Thanks,
appreciate
Corey.
it.
Yep.
I always appreciate the phone calls. Yeah, we're gonna have to look into that some. And maybe at some point tonight we will do some Vance Bolter updates, which I do have. So if AK Kamar, if you're out there listening, maybe you can call in later. If we have time, hopefully we can get to you and talk about your neck of the woods. And this suspected assassin, Vance Bolter, discusses his undercover investigation and new statement from prison. So, like I was saying on IRL earlier today, we're just trapped in this revolving door of political violence. And unfortunately, it's nothing new. But I mean, just thinking back to January and Mangione, all the things we've talked about on this show, the Idaho shooter killing those first responders, the embassy shooting, this shooting. I mean, this seems like it's political, but who knows what's behind it. But the symbols that are baked into this stuff, it's like, I can't help but not see it. And it's concerning. And I see a lot of my friends also being worried about that. But, I don't believe in coincidences, but we'll see. I got to read more into that story. It sounds like there might be more dead bodies than we initially heard when we started IRL. At first, we heard two people were killed, and that's unfortunate. That's too many. But by the time I ran over to this studio, I heard it might be 5, and I was seeing other tweets that there's more, unfortunately, deceased in the building. So we'll have to keep up on that story. But let's get to another caller.
Yep, really quick. As always, like, subscribe, follow, and share the show with everybody you know. We appreciate you hanging out. If you came over from IRL, welcome. We've been talking about the Ghislaine Maxwell situation. Sorry, Ghislaine. I like
Show her some respect.
I've been doing the whole Ghislaine Maxwell thing because
Tim
it's
Dillon.
just because I'm an asshole. But
Yep.
thanks for watching again. We had a guest earlier. We were discussing the 100 names. Give us your comments on that. Whether you think they're going to release them, whether you think it's going to matter. If you think she's bullshitting. We're all very curious to hear what you guys have to say. And also, we have another Culture War live show coming up in DC this Saturday. The last one was awesome. If you missed it, you still got a chance to come out to the shows August 2nd and August 9th. I believe tickets are still available for both. I'm not sure about the 9th. Maybe the 2nd sold out. I'm not sure. But take a look up dccomedyloft.com. You can get tickets. I think they're $30 for GA. So come on out. Shout out to Tiny for hanging out this weekend. It was cool to see you, dude. And we'll be partying down there again this Saturday. So come out, say what's up. And let's get to... let's go to Jordan. Jordan, what's up? You're on IWL.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
What is up?
Nothing much. So would you guys want the story that I have about a craft I saw or about a possible government operation?
I'm going to say government operation.
Okay, so years ago, I used to teach at a high school. We had this robotics club. Started looking into some information about just technology with that stuff. And one of the rabbit holes one of my students started looking down was, oddly enough, negative mass. And I was like, what the heck is negative mass? That doesn't seem to make any sense, right? Well, I had a friend who used to work with Lockheed Martin. And so I called him and asked him about, was like, what do you know about negative mass? Because he used to work with, he worked in the Cassini project as well.
Interesting.
And so after that, I said, do you have anyone who still works with NASA or Lockheed or anything like that knows anything about using negative mass for propulsion or something like that? Well, after school, we had our little robotics meeting. I called the guy up to the school, got him visitor pass, whatever. He got on the phone and said, yeah, I got a buddy at NASA. I'm going to call because I told him I wanted him to talk to our robotics club. And so we called him. He had him on speakerphone, called the guy up, but the guy didn't know the premise of what the question was going to be. So then he started asking him about negative mass. And the guy from NASA started screaming and yelling, saying, who told you about this? All sorts of stuff. I'm not going to say all the profanities because I know you're on air, but in front of a bunch of high school kids who had us on the phone. He's screaming about, why would you call me on this line? He's like, they're going to come for us and all this stuff. He's like, they're listening to everything we're saying.
Really?
And guy hung up, and I was like, okay, what's up with that? So I started looking on some things like, 4chan and whatever else to see what I could find about negative mass. And I found an article that was published and then redacted about, I think it was cesium, I want to say, that they were trying to artificially lower the temperature to close to absolute zero. And what happens is, instead of, so normal mass attracts, like universal gravitational constant, all that crap, right? Where you have Fg equals m1, m2 times g divided by r squared. But however, when it comes to negative mass, it works kind of like electrons, where electrons repel each other versus protons in the in a nucleus. They sort of attract each other where they're held together by a force, but electrons repel each other. And apparently, negative mass would do the same thing. And it also kind of works where it's like, where you have black holes, which are a super dense mass, and the opposite would be a white hole, where you have, theoretically, according to one thing I found in Russia, I want to say, is where a white hole is basically negative mass that's super concentrated.
Yeah, and for you guys watching, normal mass would be plus 1 kilogram, so negative mass would therefore be negative 1 kilogram. It's one of those things where if you were to apply force to the negative, it would actually come towards you rather than be pushed away, if that makes any sense.
What do you think they're doing with this?
And so the thing with that, me and my buddy who used to work for Lockheed Martin, we called around a few other people who are also retired from Lockheed Martin or whatever else that he used to work with. And apparently they have an idea of like a rail gun or something like that, potentially, where this is the idea that we were throwing around with a couple of guys, and they were saying you could do something like have negative mass, and if you had a railgun of negative mass, apparently it would repel the positive mass as well. So if you had a beam of alternating positive and negative mass, you would be able to implant something somewhere at a further distance without them knowing. It almost like teleportation, if that makes any sense. But if it's in a railgun type of way, it's like very small objects. And when I say small, I mean like, atom sized. But if you were to continuously stack atoms somewhere at a high rate, then you could move something very small.
That's interesting.
And they think theoretically that this would be one of the keys to like faster than light travel.
Right.
If they could figure it out.
Wow.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I could see them putting on something on the moon slowly over time, or weaponizing that. I mean, it's Lockheed Martin. So that's very interesting. It's very interesting. So you had a friend who gave you the contact to this guy.
Yeah.
And seemed like he was a trusted guy, but he didn't know the premise of the question. And the second he heard negative mass, even though he's in front of a bunch of children, more or less, they're teenagers, he lost it.
Yeah, he completely flipped out.
What did the kids do?
They sat there just kind of looking shocked. And afterwards, I was like, all right, well, meeting's done for today.
I mean, that's a life-changing experience. You're looking into something like negative mass, which is something that's already fascinating. And now you bring in this guy, you said he was a NASA guy?
Yeah, he apparently, I don't know, again, he wasn't my buddy, but I think he worked, again, with like Raytheon or Lockheed or someone, but worked with NASA.
Fascinating. And have you seen other updates about this since then? Like, how long ago was that?
This was 2019. COVID happened, and
wow.
I really hadn't talked to a bunch of those people. I don't teach at that high school anymore.
Oh, wow. Well, that's crazy. Be very
Yeah, and
interesting to
this
see
is,
that pop
so
up.
I live out, I'm just going to say mid-Florida.
Mhm.
So there's tons of Lockheed and former NASA guys out here. So
Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about Lockheed a lot just because of the fires at Area 51 and all the Lockheed stuff out there. Perhaps they've been working on something like this out there.
right.
Well, appreciate the call, man.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, that's all I got.
Yeah, appreciate the phone call, dude.
Thanks,
Mhm.
Jordan.
Thank you.
Wild. Negative mass. Is this stuff you know from your time at Fermilab?
No, I actually was too busy resetting passwords and taking phone calls. I was like entry-level help desk when I was working at Fermilab, so I wasn't. I was just a basement dweller at that point.
Or you have an NDA and you're actually really good at
I
smashing
actually
particles.
don't believe I had to sign an NDA there because I was really incapable of being exposed to any information that they didn't want out there.
Yeah.
They had that building pretty well segregated.
I'm sure.
But there was a day where somebody actually committed suicide in the building. The building is a giant kind of almost like Atari looking symbol.
Yeah, it's
that's
weird.
massive and towers
Yeah.
over in Batavia, Illinois. And the entire center of it is hollowed out. There's a wire hanging from the ceiling that's, I want to say, well, it comes all the way from the ceiling to the top of the building. So this wire is extremely long, a couple 100 feet at least, with a pendulum hanging at the bottom in a sand pit. And the natural movements of the building caused this to draw lines in the sand in the atrium down below, which is kind of cool. But the rest of the building is built around it with these kind of wire railings set up on either staircases, and it's very easy to jump over them.
Wow.
And somebody actually one day jumped off, and I forget what floor it was, but smack right in the center of the atrium, killed themselves. It was
Did you know
crazy.
the story? Like,
I was not there, thankfully, so I did not
Yeah.
witness any of this. This was like right after I stopped working there, so I missed the entire freak show that was. But
Crazy.
yeah.
Was it a scientist? Like any?
I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
I never looked into this was back in, God, I don't know, 2000 something. I want to say maybe like 2000, somewhere between 2008 and 2012. I want to say, because I can't remember.
I thought you were going to say someone jumped into the beam, because that story from CERN when the guy got the beam through the head.
Yeah, no, I heard about that, which was crazy.
It's crazy.
For all I know, there's been other accidents there too. I never really looked into anything outside of that. I was super focused on moving on, and
It's a fascinating place.
yeah, it was pretty cool. And they had buffalo. They had
Yeah.
a whole thing of North American
ton.
bison there on site.
What
right
are
by
they
it.
doing? What are they doing with those buffalo?
I don't know. Hopefully making them into some tasty burgers. I'm a carnivore, so I like bison burgers. They're delicious.
Me too. Sweet. Do we have another caller we should get to?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
All right. Let's see. I got. Jordy was in here last week, and I never got to him. So let's see if I can get Jordy in here. Jordy, you're on the show. If you can unmute.
Hello.
Hello.
What's up?
Sorry, I called in a few weeks ago. My husband and I called in about the missing time story where
Oh yeah.
we were sitting on the couch and yeah, we were just having a conversation.
That's right.
But I have another
remember.
interesting story.
Great.
So back when I worked for like I was serving and like drinks and food to celebrities. I had the opportunity to work really closely with P Diddy's chef,
Oh man.
and I was a teenage girl.
Oh wow. How'd you get that job as a
So
teenage girl serving? Was it drinks?
yeah, drinks.
That's already
But
suspicious.
I was freshly 18,
Okay.
so I could
There's
I
some.
could
Yeah, I
do
was gonna
that.
say there's some states that allow it at 18. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well that's
Yeah.
we're already off to a crazy start.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm working in Miami and serving, drinks and stuff to people. And I when I'm not in the middle of serving and stuff, especially at night, when we're just doing all the breakdowns and like cleaning up and stuff, um, the P. Diddy chef came in to do some prep work. And so it was a really interesting time. But the thing is, so we had like a team of like 40 people, and he gave invitations for people to go and work on P. Diddy's yacht serving that summer when the event was done. And the only people that he gave invites to were freshly 18-year-old girls.
Of course.
And now that that itself, he gave one to me and like a few other people, and I was going to go on his yacht and serve because I thought that was like a unique opportunity.
Good for the
But
resume.
I'm so glad that my young, undeveloped brain didn't have the opportunity to do that because I decided to go and get married instead. But
Incredible. Thank God.
yeah, thank God. Um, but what really irks me about the whole situation is P. chef. I'll paint you a picture of who this guy was. He was a really tall Jamaican guy, probably like 6'5", and he said that he was in his 50s, and that he said that he was like my dad's age,
That's
but
weird.
he looked like he was in his 20s. And on top of that, and he carried himself in a way that like my dad would. So, but like in the way that he talked, it was like how my dad talks. But when it comes to like this guy was a really charismatic guy, like, but there's something off about it though. So like, sorry, trying to explain it.
Take your time.
He was very charismatic in a way that was like being under a spell.